There are worse things in life than solitude. Charles Bukowski. Some of us find ourselves, whether by design or by accident, being lonely. Being alone in solitude, whether it's because we are in a different country, or we lost some friends, or we argued with some friends, or they did with us. We do not have friends anymore. Some of us. We have some friends, but because of life, and society that gets in the way, we start to see them less and less and less. And then life just gets more in the way, and we don't consider them friends anymore, or they don't consider us friends anymore. This will not be a video on how to make more friends. This will be a practical guide on how to be lonely and how to be successful at being lonely and being in solitude, how to feel meaningful without the need for affection, attention, and all other validation from other people. All you need to do is a few things. Try to understand that this is a time to really reflect. That is the first thing that you have to do. Understand that this time is used to reflect, but don't let that be the only thing that you do, because you're gonna start wallowing in your own problems and start self-pitying yourself. Is that a word? Is that a sentence? Start understanding what really makes you tick, what really makes you laugh. This is the second thing. You should learn that when you are lonely and in solitude, understand how to really entertain yourself. What are the things that can entertain you whenever you are lonely, whenever you have a lot of time on your hands, or you don't, but you feel like you should meet your friends more or try to make new ones? Try to actually understand the things that make you laugh, the things that are come from inside of you. They don't have to be outside things, but they can be, no matter what it is. Try to find new things that amuse you, that make your brain really engaged. It's so much more important to go from both ends. So the first one is actually going internally and finding whatever your world is. And the other one needs to be about action, about really finding amusing things to do and to really play with your environment. Whatever it is, it can be playing with a kendama, it can be playing video games, it can be just talking in front of the camera, it can be pursuing a goal, it can be anything. So replace that need for attention, validation, and of course, affection, and all of the things that come with having friends and, you know, loved ones, relationships, things like that. Replace those things with self amusement, things that you can do by yourself, or you can actually go do them in a group. That's the next step. Try to find areas, even though you're not really making friends, but try to put yourself out there and see if you can find a community you belong to. Whether it's a D&D campaign, whether it's video games, you just find someone or some people that you can spend the things that you've learned about yourself. Spend time doing that with those people. Join support groups, do volunteering, do all these kinds of things. You might not know when you find your next loved one or your next friend, but that's not the goal. You should do that specific action because you want it, not because you want to make friends there. Sure, that might be a byproduct, but it has to start from the second step. You find it amusing, you find it interesting, you find it that your mind is really engaged when you are doing that thing. So try things out. You might be surprised at how many things you find enjoyable. And I find that whenever, this is the fourth point, whenever you start to have a better demeanor, a better outlook on life, you will start to attract new people in your life. But it has to be a concerted effort. You have to really put yourself a little bit out there to find more people. You don't have to become friends. It's sometimes okay to keep a distance. Sometimes it's by design. You don't really want to go through that thing that made you despise people in the first place. So keep your distance if you want. It's fine. But understand that we actually need a little bit of that attention, a little bit of that validation. We need someone to give us affection and someone to give us love and all of these things. And some people might be the fit for you. But don't put yourself in a box where you don't want to get hurt, so you don't put yourself out there. This would be the fifth reason. Like, don't close yourself down. Because if you sit too much time into really being alone and in solitude, you will start to develop these quirks, these things, these mannerisms that will keep other people away. So we actually need a little bit of a socialization, because otherwise we go down very dark paths. Because we also, if it's not by choice, if you do it by choice, most of the times it's fine. But if it's by accident that you found yourself in that predicament, you will go down a little bit of a slippery slope. So try to understand that it's nobody's fault. It's not your fault, not other people's fault for the reason that you find yourself alone right now. It's actually just an accident, something that happened with nobody's fault. And you can also not blame, this is one of the sixth principles, you cannot blame yourself, you cannot blame other people that have wronged you in the past, or you cannot blame new people for the reason why you are alone, especially the new ones, because they haven't really actually done anything yet. We use this feeling, if we feel bad about our loneliness, we use this feeling to try to really extend that loneliness. We don't even understand. We hate it so much, but yet we do not accept that it's nobody's fault, not your fault, not other people's fault. You try to find a fault because if you found a fault, then you can feel a little bit of relief. But the idea is that nobody's at fault. This is just a situation, a momentary situation. For some of us, it can be a period of months. For others, just a few weeks. But for others, it can be years. But you have to understand that even if it's years, not years, but years. You can find ways to entertain yourself and really fine-tune your life in such a way that you feel amazing. And it starts with finding more and more and more things that you find interesting and amusing, that you want to do. Those things can be consumption, but usually the ones that you really want are the ones that you channel your creativity into rather than take things in. You put things out there. You can do painting, you can do writing, you can do videos, you can do whatever you want. Just do something. And a bonus beautiful step, I think we are on step number 7, is get a pet, especially a dog. A dog can teach you so much about being lonely, and it actually solves this problem entirely. You will not feel lonely anymore. I've never felt lonely in my own house ever since I got Sophie. So, yeah, you can get a pet. And it will also make you happier. She is 50% of my happiness. More than 50% of my happiness. Sure, she sometimes gets on my nerves. She does things that I don't want her to do. But that's a good thing as well. It teaches you how to be with other people, how to treat yourself as if sometimes you were an animal. Because we do have these animalistic needs, these animalistic tendencies that really can shape our whole life. keep in mind that one of the most important things is to realize that it's not the worst thing that could happen. It can be a blessing. It can be such a great thing. And you will look back sometimes in the future, you will look back on the times that you felt really lonely for a long period of time. You will look back and you will say, that was a good period of my life. I know it doesn't feel that way in this moment, but at a certain point in the future, you will look back and you will say, that was the period that really changed me for the better. I would have never been able to learn all of these things. For me, it would be that I wouldn't have learned how much I like having a dog and really training my dog and playing with her and, just having fun. So it is that. And I wouldn't have learned how attached I am to having relationships. And the fact that I'm so attached to having relationships because I didn't really know how to be alone, how to be lonely, how to entertain myself, how to really have a lot of fun and make my life meaningful. Understand this about loneliness. And this is actually the most important thing. If you actually stuck with this video, this is one of the most important things, is that when you are alone, if you manage to make yourself happy and feel like your life is meaningful, you will be that way no matter what. Because it's harder to feel those things when you are alone than you are with another person. So you understand that if you are doing it when it's harder, you're gonna do it no matter what. You're gonna do it when you have friends, when you have a relationship. You're gonna be fulfilled. You're gonna be feeling like your life is meaningful. You're gonna feel happy. So you see, it's so much better to be able to really build your happiness and your fulfillment when things are tough. Because if you build them then and they resist those troubling times, they will resist when you are in great or good times, when you have friends and relationships. That's a concept that really a lot of people don't understand.